What happens when the quest for truth collides with the corridors of power? Is the price of truth worth the cost in a land where every word and action is scrutinized? Why would a Texas pastor and his blind daughter find themselves in the opulent palaces of Dubai? What secrets can the winds of the desert conceal? Could innocence ever be safeguarded in a land where every whisper could be a shadow? In the vast, sun-kissed expanse of Texas, where community and faith weave tightly into the fabric of everyday life, Pastor Elijah has served his congregation with a warmth and dedication that mirrors the enduring sunlight. Known for his deep, resonant voice that fills the chapel every Sunday and his gentle guidance that reaches beyond the pews, Elijah is a cornerstone of his community. A widower, he has raised his daughter Lila with the same love and devotion he extends to his flock. As we gear up for today's episode, we're diving headfirst into the heart of the mystery. Stay tuned, hit subscribe, and join us as we unravel the secrets, piece by piece. Don't miss out, subscribe now, and be the change you want to see. Now let's crack this case wide open. Lila, a vibrant 13-year-old, despite her blindness, navigates the world with a grace that inspires those around her. Her blindness has never been a curtain to the world, but rather a canvas on which she paints with the colors of sound, scent, and touch. Her keen sense of hearing tunes into the subtlest notes of life, a gift she shares through her enchanting singing during church services, her voice both haunting and uplifting. Their serene existence, filled with the mutual love of a close-knit community, is stirred one autumn afternoon by the arrival of an ornate envelope marked with the seal of a far-off kingdom. It contains an invitation from Sheikh al-Qasimi, a figure wrapped in prestige and mystery, extending a call to Pastor Elijah and Lila to attend a high-profile religious conference in Dubai. This conference, aimed at fostering global interfaith dialogue, offers a platform unlike any they have encountered before. As he reads the invitation aloud, Elijah's voice is laced with a mixture of honor and apprehension. Lila, we have been given an incredible opportunity to visit Dubai. It's not just a journey, it's a chance to learn, to share our faith, and to see how vast the world truly is. His words are heavy with the responsibility and possibilities that lie ahead. Lila's response is filled with a childlike wonder yet mature curiosity. I can't wait to feel the desert air and listen to the stories from another part of the world, she says, her face alight with excitement. Her imagination runs wild with the sounds of bustling marketplaces, the scent of exotic spices, and the mysterious allure of the Arabian Nights. Their preparations for the trip are cautious, yet filled with anticipation. Both understand that stepping into Dubai's sprawling metropolis will be a leap into a convergence of ancient traditions and cutting-edge modernity. They ponder the lessons and insights they might gain from such a unique cultural exchange. What might Lila and Elijah hope to learn from their visit to Dubai? As the departure day draws near, both father and daughter are buoyed by a sense of adventure, yet tethered by a subtle unease. What awaits them is more than a conference, it is the beginning of a journey that might challenge their beliefs, broaden their understanding of the world, and perhaps test their bonds in ways they cannot yet foresee. The flight to Dubai felt like crossing into another world, one where the sprawling deserts met the relentless ambition of towering skyscrapers. As Pastor Elijah and Lila disembarked, the stark contrast between their quiet Texas town and the bustling metropolis of Dubai was palpable. The air was warmer than they expected, scented with a blend of ocean breeze and spiced perfumes that seemed to seep from the very sands the city was built upon. Their host, Sheikh al-Qasimi, awaited them with a demeanor that radiated both authority and a surprising warmth. His greeting was grand yet personal, reflecting the lavish hospitality for which the region was renowned. As he approached, his gaze fixed on Lila. His voice carried a tone of genuine admiration. "Your voice in prayer must be as beautiful as the hymns of angels," he remarked, having heard recordings of her singing before their visit. Lila, guided by her father's subtle cues, smiled broadly, her face turned towards the Sheikh's voice. "Thank you, Sheikh. I'm grateful to share it with such a welcoming community," she replied, her words tinged with both gratitude and a bit of awe at the grandeur surrounding her. Sheikh al-Qasimi's response was not just pleasantries. There was an eagerness in his voice, an interest that seemed to go beyond mere hospitality. He guided them through the massive, ornate doors of his palace, which was a masterpiece of Islamic architecture, blending traditional designs with astonishing modernity. The intricate tile work and lush gardens were like something from a fairy tale, a stark departure from the simple, practical beauty of their Texan home. As they settled into their opulent guest rooms, the Sheikh continued to express a keen interest in their life back in Texas, asking insightful questions that showed he had done his homework. His charm was effortless, and his attentiveness to Lila's needs was meticulous. He made sure that her surroundings were described to her in vivid detail so that she could picture them in her mind's eye. However, for Pastor Elijah, each compliment and gesture from the Sheikh, while gracious, seeded a hint of caution in his heart. Was this overwhelming hospitality a standard courtesy here, or was there something more behind the Sheikh's keen interest in Lila? Their first dinner in Dubai was an extravagant affair, with dishes that were as flavorful as they were unfamiliar. Sheikh al-Qasimi toasted to their health and to the success of the upcoming conference, his demeanor both regal and engaging. Lila was particularly taken by the music that filled the hall during dinner, a blend of traditional Emirati music and classical harmonies. As the evening drew to a close, Elijah reflected on their host's demeanor and the lavishness that surrounded them. The Sheikh's polished exterior and the luxury of his palace were impressive, undoubtedly, but they also left Elijah pondering the layers of cultural and personal complexity they were yet to understand. How does the initial impression of Sheikh al-Qasimi shape Lila and Elijah's expectations? In the quiet of the night, as the city's lights twinkled like stars fallen to earth, Elijah and Lila discussed their first day in the bustling city. The warmth of the Sheikh's welcome seemed genuine, but Elijah's instincts, as both a pastor and a father, reminded him to tread carefully. They were far from home, in a land where every smile held depth and every gesture could signify more than met the eye. As they prepared for the days ahead, both father and daughter were curious and cautious, eager to learn and keenly aware of the need to navigate this new world with open hearts and open eyes. As the conference commenced, Pastor Elijah and Lila were introduced to a world where faiths converged, dialogues flourished, and diverse cultures met under the umbrella of mutual respect and understanding. The days were filled with seminars and panel discussions, showcasing scholars and religious leaders from around the globe. Lila, with her keen intellect and sharp hearing, absorbed the varied accents and the wisdom that permeated the conference halls. However, amid the intellectual excitement, the Sheikh's attentions towards Lila gradually began to extend beyond the polite interest expected from a host. Sheikh al-Qasimi often requested Lila's company for private tours of the city's historical sites and special events tailored to what he called cultivating understanding and appreciation of our culture. At first, these invitations seemed like a generous extension of hospitality. Yet, as the days passed, Lila began to feel an unease she couldn't quite articulate, a sense that the Sheikh's interest in her was not merely in her spiritual insight or her singing talent, which had made her somewhat of a sensation at the conference. One evening, as they returned from a day filled with rich discussions and cultural exchanges, Lila found the courage to voice her discomfort to her father. In the privacy of their lush guest room, away from the prying eyes and ears of their hosts, she hesitated before speaking. "Father, the Sheikh is kind, but his attention makes me uncomfortable. It's like he sees me not just as your daughter or as a participant here, but as something else, something more personal." Elijah listened intently, his face shadowed with concern. He had noticed the Sheikh's lingering glances, the subtle yet persistent invitations, and now his daughter's intuition confirmed his fears. Sitting beside her, he took her hand, a gesture of comfort and solidarity. "I trust your feelings, Lila. We'll stay cautious. I'll make sure we're not alone in his company, and will politely decline invitations that don't involve the entire group. The following days saw Elijah implementing subtle changes to their schedule. He made it a point to accompany Lila at all times, politely declining the Sheikh's offers for private outings or dinners. Instead, he suggested they join other groups for any cultural activities, framing it as a desire to interact more broadly with all attendees. Elijah's diplomatic skills were put to the test as he navigated this delicate situation. He conveyed their appreciations for the Sheikh's hospitality, while also emphasizing their commitment to the original purpose of their visit, the conference, and the collective experiences it offered. "We are truly grateful for your generosity, Sheikh al-Qasimi, and we look forward to participating more in the group activities to gain a fuller understanding of everyone's perspectives," Elijah would explain, keeping his tone respectful yet firm. Meanwhile, Leela used her other senses to compensate for the visual cues she missed, tuning in even more acutely to the tones of voice, the choice of words, and the general atmosphere around her. This heightened awareness helped her feel more in control and reassured her of her father's protective presence. What can Lila and Elijah do to maintain boundaries while respecting their host? As they adjusted their interactions, both father and daughter found strength in their shared approach, using tact and firmness to navigate the complex social dynamics presented by their host's unsettling attention. This experience, though challenging, deepened their bond and their understanding of how to maintain personal boundaries while respecting cultural and social expectations, a delicate balance of courtesy and personal integrity in the shimmering heart of Dubai. As the conference unfolded against the backdrop of Dubai's architectural marvels and the din of intercultural dialogue, Pastor Elijah found his thoughts increasingly preoccupied, not just with the spiritual and intellectual nourishment the event provided, but with the safety and well-being of his daughter, Lila. Each day brought new insights and knowledge, yet it also extended the shadow of the Sheikh's unsettling attentions, which loomed large in Elijah's mind. Elijah's concern escalated when he noticed a pattern in the Sheikh's behavior, subtle yet persistent attempts to isolate Lila during gatherings, under the guise of showing her unique aspects of the local culture, or artifacts that he insisted would enrich her understanding of the region. The Sheikh's demeanor remained affable and generous in public, but Elijah's instincts, as both a pastor and a father, sensed a troubling undercurrent beneath the polished surface. Determined to address the situation directly, Elijah requested a private meeting with the Sheikh. They met in the opulent library of the Sheikh's palace, a room lined with books that whispered tales of history and power. The air was heavy with the scent of aged paper and rich mahogany. "Your Highness, I cannot thank you enough for the warmth and generosity you have shown us," Elijah began, his tone respectful yet firm. "However, I must express a concern. It is imperative to me that Leela feels safe and respected during our stay. She treasures the learning experience, but I sense she needs more space to process it all." Sheikh al-Qasimi listened intently, his face a mask of calm attentiveness. When Elijah finished, the Sheikh nodded, his response smooth and reassuring. "Of course, Pastor Elijah. It is my utmost priority to ensure the comfort and security of all our guests, especially such esteemed ones as yourself and your daughter. I will make certain that my attentions are in keeping with your wishes." Elijah noted the Sheikh's words, aware that they were spoken with the careful diplomacy one might expect from a leader of his stature. He thanked the Sheikh for his understanding, hoping that this conversation would recalibrate their interactions. However, as he left the meeting, his relief was tinged with caution. The ease with which the Sheikh had assured him left a niggling doubt in his mind about the sincerity of the assurances. How does Elijah balance his protective instincts with the need to be diplomatic? In the days that followed, Elijah watched closely to see how the Sheikh's behavior would change. To his relief, the Sheikh's invitations became less frequent and were now extended with a visible effort to include others in their plans. This adjustment seemed to reaffirm the effectiveness of Elijah's approach, direct yet diplomatic. Nevertheless, Elijah remained vigilant. He continued to accompany Lila to all her engagements, and made sure they were never separated during social events. He encouraged Lila to engage more with her peers at the conference, fostering friendships that would provide additional layers of interaction and security. At the same time, he kept the communication lines open with the Sheikh, discussing conference topics and broader issues, thereby maintaining a courteous facade while guarding his primary concern, Lila's well-being. This delicate dance of diplomacy and protection was exhausting yet necessary. Elijah found himself reflecting on the complexities of their situation each night as he and Lila discussed their day's experiences. These conversations with Lila were crucial, not only to ensure her feelings were validated and addressed, but also to gauge the subtleties of their interactions with the Sheikh and others. As the conference neared its conclusion, Elijah felt a complex blend of gratitude for the intellectual and spiritual feast the event had offered and unease about the underlying tensions they had navigated. He hoped that their final days in Dubai would pass peacefully, and that they would return home with nothing but enriching experiences and safe memories. Meanwhile, the city continued to dazzle its visitors, a world of contrasts where modernity met tradition, and where every smile and gesture carried layers of meaning that only the most attentive could discern. The late evening shadows stretched across the ornate carpets of the palace as Pastor Elijah sat in the quiet solitude of their luxurious guest room, reflecting on the day's events. The sound of the door opening broke his contemplation, and he looked up to see Lila, her steps hesitant and her usually poised demeanor shaken. Her face, usually so full of youthful curiosity and resilience, now bore a look of distress that immediately alarmed him. "Father, I think I made a mistake trusting him." Lila's voice trembled as she spoke, her hands nervously twisting the hem of her dress. Elijah's heart sank at the sight of his daughter in such a state, and he quickly ushered her to sit beside him on the plush sofa. His voice was calm and soothing, a stark contrast to the urgency pounding in his chest. "I'm here, Lila. Tell me everything, we'll handle this together." Lila took a deep breath, gathering her courage to recount the evening's events. She explained that she had been invited by the Sheikh to view a private collection of historical texts and artifacts, an opportunity she initially found thrilling. However, once they were alone, the Sheikh's demeanor changed. His questions became personal, his comments about her beauty uncomfortable, and his proximity too close. Lila felt a panic she had never experienced before, and excused herself under the pretense of feeling unwell. As she spoke, Elijah's fists clenched in suppressed anger, not at his daughter, but at himself for not foreseeing this, and at the Sheikh for betraying their trust. He listened intently, his mind racing through the implications of what she described, knowing they were far from home and in a delicate situation diplomatically. What steps should Elijah take following Lila's unsettling experience? First, Elijah knew he had to reaffirm Lila's feelings, ensuring she understood that she had done nothing wrong and that he was proud of her for trusting her instincts and removing herself from an uncomfortable situation. "You did the right thing by leaving Lila. I'm so proud of you for listening to your feelings and speaking up now," he reassured her gently. Second, Elijah recognized the need to document this incident thoroughly. He decided they would write down every detail while it was fresh in Lila's mind, maintaining a record should they decide to take further action. This written account would be crucial if they chose to confront the Sheikh officially or needed to escalate the matter through diplomatic channels or legal advice. Third, Elijah planned to confront the Sheikh directly and firmly. He needed to communicate clearly that his daughter's discomfort was unacceptable and that any breach of her personal boundaries must be addressed immediately. He would request a meeting the following morning, away from the public eye, where he could express his concerns without causing a public incident. Fourth, considering their safety and comfort for the remainder of their stay, Elijah began to explore options for changing their accommodation. He would contact the conference organizers discreetly to arrange for them to be moved to a different hotel, ensuring that they had a safe space where Lila could feel secure. Lastly, Elijah considered the broader implications of their participation in the conference. He needed to assess whether to continue their involvement or cut their visit short. His priority was Lila's well-being, and he was prepared to leave if that was what it took to ensure her safety. As they ended their conversation, Elijah hugged Lila, a silent promise that he was there for her, come what may. Together, they would navigate the challenging days ahead, strengthened by their trust and unity. Outside, the city of Dubai continued to glitter under the night sky, a facade of beauty that belied the complexity of the challenges they faced. In the cool morning light that filtered through the intricate latticework of the palace windows, Pastor Elijah prepared for a confrontation that could redefine the remainder of their stay in Dubai. The weight of his responsibility as a father fortified his resolve, yet his role as a guest in a foreign land tempered his approach with a need for tact and diplomacy. The meeting with Sheikh al-Qasimi was set in a small, opulent room that seemed to close in around Elijah as he entered. The Sheikh greeted him with a polite nod, the chill in his demeanor a stark departure from the warmth he had initially shown. Elijah did not hesitate. The safety of his daughter overshadowed any desire for pleasantries. "You've crossed a line, Sheikh. My daughter's comfort is non-negotiable," Elijah declared, his voice steady despite the turmoil churning inside him. The room felt even smaller as he finished his sentence, the heavy air pregnant with tension. The Sheikh's response was measured, his voice cold and unyielding. "Be careful, Pastor. This city respects my word above all." It was a thinly veiled threat, reminding Elijah of the power the Sheikh wielded in Dubai, a power that could make their situation precarious if not handled with utmost care. What can Elijah do to protect Lila from the Sheikh's power? First, Elijah recognized the need to solidify their legal standing. Upon returning to their accommodation, he reached out to the embassy to seek advice and support. Understanding the legal protections available to foreigners, particularly those on a religious visa, was crucial. He made contact with a legal advisor from the embassy who agreed to help them navigate any potential legal challenges that might arise from the situation. Second, Elijah decided to leverage the support network built during the conference. He discreetly shared their experience with a few trusted fellow attendees, seeking not only their moral support, but also their influence. These connections could serve as a buffer against any potential retaliatory actions from the Sheikh and might offer additional safety in numbers. Third, Elijah enhanced their personal security. He requested a change of hotel under the guise of needing closer proximity to conference events, a move that physically distanced them from the Sheikh's immediate sphere of influence. Additionally, he arranged for them to have more security presence during their outings, ensuring they were never completely isolated. Fourth, understanding the potential for the situation to escalate or attract unwanted attention, Elijah began documenting all interactions with the Sheikh. He maintained a detailed diary of events and kept communications, largely in written form, to ensure there was a clear record of all that was said and done. Finally, Elijah decided to prepare for the possibility of leaving Dubai earlier than planned. While not his desired outcome, ensuring Lila's safety was his paramount concern. He researched emergency exit strategies and stayed in constant communication with the airline for flexible travel options. As they navigated this precarious situation, Elijah's faith was a beacon that kept his fears at bay and guided his actions with wisdom and caution. His determination to protect Lila was unwavering, and every step he took was a testament to his deep love and responsibility as a father. In the city outside, life buzzed with oblivious continuity, but within the walls of their temporary sanctuary, a father's resolve formed the stronghold against the threats they faced. The evening had been unsettlingly quiet. The air was tense as Elijah and Lila decided to spend a peaceful night in, still recovering from the strain of their recent confrontations. They had dinner in their room, Lila's laughter echoing a bit too loudly, perhaps in defiance of the suffocating atmosphere that had begun to envelope their days in Dubai. But the laughter didn't last. In a horrifying turn of events that unfolded later that night, Lila went for a brief walk in the palace garden, a place she had come to find solace in. It was there that the unimaginable occurred. When the news reached Elijah that Lila had been found lifeless beneath the moonlit jasmine and myrtle of the garden, his world shattered. Rushing to the scene, his heart sank at the sight of her, so peaceful yet so terribly still. The police arrived swiftly, their presence a cold comfort in the face of such a personal catastrophe. Elijah's voice broke as he spoke to them, each word laced with pain. This wasn't an accident. She was my world. The police, while sympathetic, were cautious in their response. We're investigating, Pastor. But evidence is scarce, they explained as they cordoned off the area, their professional detachment a stark contrast to Elijah's raw grief. How can Elijah seek truth and justice in a foreign legal system? Elijah knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, especially in a legal environment unfamiliar to him. His first step was to lean on the support system he had cautiously built among the conference attendees, some of whom had connections to the local authorities and could help navigate the initial complexities of dealing with the police in Dubai. Secondly, Elijah reached out to the embassy with a desperate plea for assistance. The legal attaché was quick to respond, providing Elijah with a list of local lawyers who specialized in cases involving foreigners. Choosing a lawyer who was not only skilled but also sympathetic to the plight of a grieving father was crucial. This lawyer would become his guide and advocate in the labyrinthine idol system of Dubai. Thirdly, understanding the need for concrete evidence, Elijah requested a thorough investigation. He urged the police to consider all possibilities, not just accidental causes. This meant pushing for an autopsy, despite the difficult emotions such an action provoked, to conclusively determine the cause of Lila's death. Moreover, Elijah took it upon himself to gather evidence. He meticulously documented all interactions with the Sheikh prior to the tragedy, compiling emails, messages, and notes from their conversations. He also sought out sect footage from the hotel and surrounding areas, hoping that video evidence might reveal more about Lila's final hours. Realizing the power of public opinion, Elijah considered reaching out to the media. However, he knew this step required careful consideration. The portrayal of their story could sway public sympathy and potentially influence the proceedings. He decided to hold off, keeping this option as a last resort, as he first pursued more formal channels of justice. Lastly, Elijah immersed himself in understanding the cultural and legal context of Dubai, knowing that knowledge of local customs and laws would be critical in his quest for justice. He spent nights poring over books and articles, seeking to understand every facet that might impact their case. As he navigated this complex and painful path, Elijah's resolve was fueled by his love for Lila and his unwavering faith. He prayed not just for justice, but for the strength to endure the journey ahead, each step a testament to his dedication to his daughter's memory. In the sprawling cityscape of Dubai, beneath its gleaming surface, Elijah sought not only answers but a semblance of peace in the wake of an unbearable loss. The days following Lila's tragic death were clouded with grief and grim determination for Pastor Elijah. Amidst the overwhelming sorrow, his resolve to uncover the truth about his daughter's death only hardened. With the scant comfort of the detective's cautious promise to help, Elijah prepared himself for the uphill battle ahead in a legal landscape where the scales seemed precariously balanced against him. His initial meeting with the detective set the tone for what would be a complex investigation. "I need answers. Lila deserves justice," Elijah implored, his voice steady with resolve. The detective, a seasoned officer named Karim, nodded in understanding, but his eyes hinted at the complications ahead. "I'll help you, but we must tread carefully here," he cautioned, alluding to the delicate intricacies of navigating a high-profile case in Dubai, especially one involving a prominent and influential figure like Sheikh al-Kazimi. What obstacles does Elijah face in his quest for justice? Sheikh al-Kazimi was not just a wealthy host, he was also a man deeply entrenched in the political and social fabric of Dubai. His influence extended into various spheres, including the legal system. Elijah quickly realized that any direct accusation against the Sheikh could be met with significant resistance, not only from the Sheikh's legal team, but also from parts of the society that held the Sheikh in high esteem. Navigating the legal system in a foreign country was daunting. The laws and processes differed significantly from those in the United States, and Elijah found himself at a steep learning curve. The detective Karim did his best to guide Elijah through the legal intricacies, but the slow pace of bureaucracy and the need for substantial evidence made the process frustratingly slow. The lack of direct evidence linking the Sheikh to any wrongdoing was a major hurdle. The police were thorough in their investigation, but kept footage from the night of Lila's death was inconclusive, and forensic evidence from the garden where she was found was limited. Elijah was urged to gather any personal communications that might hint at a motive or improper conduct by the Sheikh, a task that required sifting through weeks of interactions and relying on the memories of those who had witnessed their interactions. Elijah's position as a foreigner in Dubai also posed significant challenges. Cultural misunderstandings and the nuances of legal etiquette often left him feeling out of depth. Moreover, his role as a pastor brought its own set of stereotypes and biases that sometimes colored the attitudes of officials and potential allies. Handling the intense personal grief while being under public scrutiny was emotionally taxing for Elijah. The media had begun to pick up on the story, drawn by the drama of a foreign pastor accusing a local sheikh of being involved in his daughter's death. Managing public perception while keeping his personal grief separate required immense emotional resilience. Determined, Elijah continued his pursuit, bolstered by the support of a few loyal friends and his legal counsel. Meetings with the detective became regular, as did consultations with his lawyer. Elijah also reached out to human rights organizations that could provide additional support and visibility for his case, hoping that international attention might pressure local authorities to act more decisively. As each day passed, Elijah's quest for justice for Lila became a testament to his faith and his unyielding love for his daughter. In the heart of Dubai, amid its dazzling lights and deep shadows, he fought not just for Lila but for the truth she deserved. Each setback hardened his resolve, and every small victory brought a glimmer of hope, fueling his journey through a labyrinth of legal and emotional challenges. The quest for justice for Lila had taken on a life of its own in Dubai, evolving from a personal tragedy into a broader battle against corruption and deceit. As Pastor Elijah delved deeper into the web of the Sheikh's influence, he found unexpected allies among those who had also felt the sting of the Sheikh's darker dealings. These were individuals from various backgrounds, some locals disillusioned by the misuse of power in their community, and others expatriates who had once trusted the Sheikh only to be betrayed. Among these allies was Amina, a local journalist who had been silently investigating the Sheikh for corruption related to real estate deals in the city. Another was Marcus, a British expatriate and a former advisor to the Sheikh who had left his service under mysterious circumstances. Their reasons for helping Elijah were personal yet unified by a common desire for justice and transparency. "We're with you, Pastor. The Sheikh won't get away with this," Amina assured Elijah during a clandestine meeting in a quiet cafe far from the usual opulence of the city center. Her determination was palpable, matched by Marcus's strategic mindset. "We have information that can help, documents, contacts in the legal system, and more," Marcus added, laying out a roadmap for their collective action. How do alliances change the course of Elijah's fight? The alliances Elijah formed provided him with critical resources and information that would have been difficult to access alone. Amina's journalistic skills and contacts enabled them to gather evidence more discreetly and efficiently, while Marcus's insider knowledge of the Sheikh's operations offered insights into possible legal loopholes and vulnerabilities. Together they were able to compile a dossier of incriminating evidence that painted a broader picture of the Sheikh's unethical behaviors. Uniting with well-respected locals like Amina, who had deep ties within the community, and an expatriate like Marcus, who understood the intricacies of dealing with the Sheikh's international dealings, lent legitimacy to Elijah's cause. Their involvement helped to shift public perception, making it harder for the Sheikh to dismiss Elijah's claims as mere allegations from an aggrieved outsider. This collective front brought significant media attention, both locally and internationally, shining a spotlight on the case and increasing pressure on local authorities to act. The journey for justice was arduous and fraught with challenges that often left Elijah drained and disheartened. The emotional and moral support from his allies was invaluable. They provided not just strategic input, but also comfort during moments of doubt, reinforcing his resolve to continue despite the obstacles. There was safety in numbers. The Sheikh's power was formidable, and his capacity for retaliation was a constant threat. By banding together, Elijah and his allies protected each other from potential repercussions. Their meetings were planned with meticulous care to avoid surveillance, and they used encrypted communications to discuss sensitive information. Perhaps most significantly, the alliances allowed for a multiplicative effect of their efforts. Each person brought their unique strengths to the table, creating a multifaceted approach to the fight. Legal maneuvers, media campaigns, and grassroots mobilization all played a part in their strategy, making it more difficult for the Sheikh to predict and counter their next moves. As the case progressed, the combined efforts of Elijah and his allies began to bear fruit. Leaks to the media about the Sheikh's corrupt practices led to public outcry, and the accumulated evidence started to sway the legal proceedings. The community's support grew as more people became aware of the Sheikh's true nature, rallying around Elijah's cause and demanding justice and accountability. In this intricate dance of justice, every step forward was a testament to the power of unity against corruption. For Elijah, this phase of his journey was not just about avenging Lila's untimely death, but also about restoring faith in the justice system and proving that even those in the highest echelons of power were not above the law. The culmination of Elijah's relentless pursuit of justice arrived as stark and dramatic as the desert sun at high noon. In a grand courtroom, an embodiment of Dubai's juxtaposition of modernity and tradition, the final confrontation unfolded. The room was thick with tension. Spectators from all walks of life gathered, a silent testimony to the gravity of the situation. Elijah, standing resolute, faced Sheikh al-Kazimi across the polished expanse of the courtroom. "It ends today, Sheikh. The truth will be known," Elijah declared, his voice echoing off the marble and wood, carrying with it the weight of his journey, a journey wrought from grief, but driven by righteousness. The Sheikh, dressed in his traditional regalia, smirked with a confidence born of years in power, replying coolly, "You have no power here, but every action has consequences." As the legal proceedings took their course, with arguments laid bare and evidence scrutinized, the community watched, and the world waited. The outcome of this trial would reach far beyond the personal vendetta of a grieving father or the potential fall of a powerful man. It was a testament to the rule of law, to the belief that justice, no matter how delayed, should be accessible to all. What legacy will Lila's story leave behind, and what impact will it have on the community? Lila's tragic story, marked by her innocence and the subsequent darkness that befell her, would forever be a poignant narrative in a community. Her tale, one of vulnerability and violation, would raise critical questions about trust, protection, and the responsibilities of those in power. Would her story usher in a new era of transparency and accountability for leaders? How will the legal outcome of this case affect the trust between the citizens and their leaders? If justice were served, would it restore faith in the legal system, proving that no one, not even a sheikh, is above the law? Or, if the outcome were less just, what cynicism might breed in the hearts of the citizens? How would this affect future interactions between the public and those they looked up to for guidance and governance? What reforms could be inspired by the issues raised during the trial? Could this high-profile case bring about changes in how foreigners are treated in the legal system? Might there be a push for reforms that ensure more robust protections for visitors and expatriates, creating a safer, more welcoming environment for all who come to Dubai? How will Elijah's actions inspire others in similar situations? Might others who have felt powerless or oppressed find courage in Elijah's unwavering determination? Could his story embolden more people to stand up against injustices, knowing that their voices could indeed bring about change? What educational and preventive measures might be implemented in light of Leela's story? In schools, workplaces, and within families, how might Leila's story serve as a critical lesson in recognizing and preventing abuses of power? Could her story lead to more comprehensive educational programs on personal safety and legal rights? As the gavel sounded, marking the close of the proceedings, the answers to these questions began to take shape, influenced not just by the verdict, but by the profound reverberations of Leila's story through every level of the community. Elijah, standing quietly as the court cleared, knew that regardless of the outcome, his daughter's legacy would be one of change. In his heart, he carried both the pain of loss and the hope that from this tragedy, a lasting good might yet arise. Every story we share is a step toward justice and understanding, and every subscription fuels our journey deeper into the truths that shape our world. Don't just watch history unfold, be a part of shaping its course. Subscribe now and stay connected as we continue to uncover, challenge, and inspire. Be the change. Join us today.